What is up, guys, and welcome back to episode number 33 now of the Leeds United career mode here on FIFA 17. In the last episode, I left you off with the fact that we were just knocked out of the English League Cup by Fulham to that stupid penalty that we gave away. Not quite sure how is it a penalty, and still, during this episode, I'm pretty salty about that fact that we gave that away. I ended up getting kicked out, or knocked out, rather, of the English League Cup because of that. So, looking back at it, I guess you could say it's a bit of a fortune that we are knocked out as early as we are. It means that we can save player fitness and stuff now that we are playing in Europe as well. Looking into this game, though, as we went into the 6th game of the Premier League season here against Stoke City, down in 14th place. Stoke were up in 9th, so it's going to be a tough test, this one. Taking them on at the Britannia, so I'm looking forward to seeing if we can get the full 3 points out of this game as well. Obviously, Stoke in real life are a tough place to go. There's no doubting that in real life. They are one of the best sides at home, or rather, one of the most difficult sides to play at home. I think it's just the aspect of the fact that their fans get behind them. When you play at the Britannia, you know you're going in for a game, and that's why I was thinking into this one. I was thinking at the same time, there's a big chance that we may not come away as victors here, or possibly not even get a draw from this game. You'll see the Stoke City lineup coming up here now. They have Shaqiri, Afellay, Arnautovic, obviously the youth, Joe Allen, a very good signing for them as well. He had a great Euros for Wales, and I think he's one of the better signings that Stoke City have made so far. So it was going to be a tough test. They obviously have Troy Deeney as well, that they've actually signed during this career mode. He's on the bench today. Ryan Shawcross as well. I rate him very highly as a defender. So I was going into this thinking if we can get a draw out of this, I'll be happy. Although you may be looking at this as a possibility that we would have to try and get ourselves the full 3 points out of this. At the same time, Stoke are doing quite well at the moment. They're sat in 9th, so I would take a draw from this game. You can see the starting 11 that we would name as well. Pretty much our usual, with Lafont obviously lining up in goal as per usual. Carlos Hernandez, I think it was Una Garcia and De Siglio. Then the midfield three of Ronaldo Vieira, Augusto, and I think it was Pablo Hernandez, obviously. Green, Roof, and I think Iwobi up front. So, strongest possible side that we could name here. I'm not entirely sure if it's called the Stoke City FC Stadium or if it's still the Britannia nowadays. It just came up with that. First chance for Larway, though. 19th minutes into this game. Iwobi, very poor in front of goal he has been for us. And I just, I'm not really thinking to myself at this point that he's going to be one for the future. Because at the moment, we get him in some good positions, but he just can't keep a calm head in front of goal. 55 minutes into this one, Costinha should have made it 1-0 as his strike was very well saved by the Stoke goalkeeper. I don't know if it was Jack Butland in goal. I don't know if they still got Butland at the club. I didn't quite see at the start of this episode. As in 66 minutes now, we would win the ball back here with Ronaldo Vieira down this right-hand side, going again inside to Joel Green. Joel Green, who's not number 14 yet. I will be doing it at some point in the coming future. I did remember to do it, but just didn't remember to do it in this episode. As Joel Green gets inside of the man, I did not mean that pass to go through to him. It was very fortunate that it did, because the young man finished it off and made it Stoke City 0, Leeds United 1, and we were looking at picking up the 3 points available from this game. Stoke, in all honesty, as much as I said they were going to be a difficult side, what a ball that is, I have to say. As much as I said Stoke were going to be a difficult side, they didn't put much of a fight up offensively, as it is Jack Butland net still for Stoke. He's beaten, though, by his possible future international teammate in Joel Green. A very nice finish from our young man, making it 1-0 to us in the game here. But like I was saying, I expected more from Stoke. I was expecting it to be a much tougher game than it actually was here. And I have to say as well, we did look comfortable. We have looked comfortable all season long. The problem for us is we cannot seem to find the back of the net enough. And that's the main thing that we are not able to do. If we were able to find the back of the net from the chances we created, we would be winning a lot more games. But at the moment, we're struggling in terms of front of goal and being able to put the ball in the back of the net. And Joel Green here, 80th minute, chance to make it another goal for himself as he gets taken out there from behind. Definite penalty kick here. Ryan Shawcross, the man who actually gets booked for his challenge as well on Joel Green. It was a definite penalty kick, I have to say. There's no doubt about that on my mind. But I was thinking, if Joel Green possibly, had been able to get on to the end of that, he would have made it 2-0 possibly and got himself a second goal. I decided not to take the penalty kick with Joel Green, and obviously, because his penalty kicks aren't that great, we took it with Chris Wood, who's normally quite good from the spot. We're going to see if he is as good as he normally is here. He's the highest rated penalty taker at the club. Give it to Chris Wood. You can see me sort of looking at the players that I was thinking about, but in the end, I just chose Chris Wood instead. Look to go to the left-hand side of the goal, but Jack Butland makes a makes himself very big, rather, and we end up basically just missing the target completely, which is, yeah, a bit unfortunate. I even did that with the target thing on to actually help me out, and I somehow still missed, but I'm just quite poor at penalties this year. But a mistake at Stoke from the back, gave it straight away to a defender that quite clearly didn't want it, in all honesty, and Joel Green steals it back, gives it into Wood, Wood back to Joel Green, and Joel Green absolutely pile drives that one into the bottom corner to make it Stoke City 0, Leeds United 2, 84 minutes into the game, deserved winners on the day, and we were looking that way as we end up making it 2-0 here. Get very lucky at the respect that Jack Butland tried to play it out the back, but for some reason the Stoke defender just didn't want it at his feet. He got very muddled up, and Joe Green made the tackle, and it sort of fell. I didn't mean to pass it to Chris Wood, but it did go to Chris Wood. Thankfully it did, as the flick on then round the corner went back to Joe Green, who got his second goal in the Premier League so far this season. So I think that makes him the top scorer at the club currently in the Premier League, which is absolutely insane to say. The fact he's only got 2 goals and yet he's the top scorer at the club in the Premier League. That's absolutely stupid. And there you go, the final whistle, 90 minutes on the clock. We won the game here by 2-0. So a very good victory coming out of the Britannia, if it's still called the Britannia. Is it still called the Britannia? I don't actually know. In FIFA they call it Stoke City FC Stadium. I preferred it if it is called the Stoke City FC Stadium in real life. I'll be disappointed because I enjoyed the name Britannia. I thought it was a very good name, and as soon as you heard that name, you thought Stoke City. So if they have changed it to the other thing, I'll be a bit disappointed in real life. So maybe one day I'll visit the Britannia. I'm going to still call it the Britannia if it's not. At some point I might visit it. I've never actually been to the Britannia, but I've heard it's quite a good ground. So coming out of the Britannia there to get the full 3 points, I was very happy with that one as Manchester United beat West Ham by 2-0. We then had a European game coming up here, and if you don't know where we are currently sat in the Europa League group, we are currently sat as one of the better sides in there. I think we're actually joint top at the moment in terms of points-wise. I think we've had 1 win, 1 draw, and 1 loss so far, but I could be wrong there. We could have had 2 wins. I can't quite remember. You see it as we're going into it here, and we had our first game against Copenhagen, which was nice to see. I think we're actually sat at 1 win, 1 loss, but I could actually be wrong. We might have only actually played 2 games, and if that's the case, I may have spoiled it. Yes, I have done. Oh my god, that's my mistake, guys. Forget what I've just said. Blank out your memory. This is the second game in the Europa League. I've recorded the next episode of this as well, so again, I really do apologise. Yeah, basically, it's just my mind going absolutely blank. Boom. Enough about that. It didn't happen. You didn't hear me say that what I've just said about us having 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. I actually don't think that's the way it goes, actually, so I could even be losing my mind here at which point. But that was the side we named coming into this one. Lafont, Mesquites, or Miguel as we call him, Belushi, Cooper, Mano, Anita, Moat, Murphy, Iwobi, Sacco, and Kamaru. The usual backup side as what I've named it. Although it's possibly going to be some of the players in there could possibly get into our starting 11, we are naming it the backup side. And you're going to see the Copenhagen side. This was the other side alongside Bush and Glassback that I was actually looking at and thinking those two are going to be the ones that we're going to go through, and we would have to try and fight those two to try and get ourselves out of the group as well. So I don't quite know any of the players in that Copenhagen side, and I was just hoping that even though I didn't know any of them, they wouldn't be good enough to beat us on the day. As you can see, both teams getting ready for kickoff here, but like I said, I was looking at this and I was thinking, if we don't qualify out of the group, I'll be slightly disappointed, but at the same time, to be my first season in Europe, when I didn't even expect to be in Europe after winning that FA Cup, I was a bit surprised at the fact that we got Europe, and then obviously that is the prize for winning the FA Cup. You get to play in the Europa League. I wasn't expecting it, so even if we don't qualify out of the group, I can't say I'll be terribly disappointed, even though it's my first season. My main focus at the moment is trying to keep ourselves in the Premier League. That's all I'm going to try and work on, is trying to keep ourselves here in the Premier League. And we're struggling at the moment in terms of goals, which means I will have to try and bring in a striker. And I'm hoping the board will give us a little bit more money come January to be able to do that. And if they don't, then we may struggle to keep ourselves in the Premier League. And that's just the basic facts of it, really. It's going to be a difficult season upcoming. I'm really not looking forward to trying to play it out and seeing how we get on. However, if we manage to do what I'm setting up my goals of the season, basically, if we achieve those, then great. We've kept ourselves in the Premier League and we'll be able to fight for the title next season, hopefully, if we sign the right players into the club. However, 13 minutes into our second Europa League game, we gave away yet another penalty, and you guys know how I feel about penalties this year in FIFA. The way you can give them away so cheaply, and the way that they basically, a lot of the times it's the players throwing themselves to the ground, or not even in the case of not throwing themselves to the ground at all in the last game when you saw it against Fulham in the last episode. They get a penalty here. Cornelius is going to step up and take this for Copenhagen. I was a bit frustrated at the fact that I've given it away, but that one is a penalty kick, unlike the last one against Fulham. And what a penalty that is by Cornelius, right into that bottom corner. There's no chance Lafont was going to save that. I thought he was going to go down the middle. He absolutely gave me the eyes and sent it the other way. And I was made to look a fool, in honesty. But I gave away the penalty. It's a sloppy penalty from me. Nothing I can do about it. And it's just, yeah, that one was a penalty, but the Fulham one wasn't. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch it, because you see what I mean about it not being a penalty. It's one of the most stupid penalties I think I've ever given away in any FIFA. However, 42 minutes into this game, we were trying to get ourselves back on level terms. Moat having 2 efforts at goal. One of them was saved by the goalkeeper, which went straight to his hands. The other one was blocked there, and in the 52nd minute of this, when we get ourselves a free kick, I was a bit sort of sceptical as to whether or not that was actually a free kick. It was a very cheap one to give away. Moat's going to take this free kick, gets it over the wall, and pretty much straight at the goalkeeper in the end. I was hoping it was going to go further into corner, but it didn't. and it was a very good save, I have to say, but at the same time, he didn't really hit the corner with that one. He hit it sort of central, and it was a sort of easy save for the goalkeeper to make, and that was the way the game would finish. So we actually lost that one by a goal to nil. So far in Europe, we've played 2 games, we've won 1, and we've lost 1. I don't know if you saw there, we had 4 shots, 4 on target. They had 1 shot and 1 on target and won the game. Now, if you guys play career mode, you'll know FIFA age is a thing. You'll know that the computer can have 1 shot and it'll go in the back of the net. This seems to be a regular occurrence for me right now. Seems to be I'm dominating the game and literally they'll have 1 shot and it ends up in the back of the net, which I don't quite know what to do. I don't know if my goalkeeper isn't good enough at the age that he is. Maybe Lafont's not the goalkeeper that we need at the club. Maybe he's not that good enough to be able to stop the chances from going in. Or maybe it's just me being poor defensively and giving them 2 easy chances to be able to put the ball in the back of the net. Like I've said, I genuinely believe that we don't have a good enough side here at least to be able to compete in Europe and be able to compete in the Premier League at the same time. Yes, we have a good side, but is it able to compete at the highest level? No, it's quite clearly not, which means we will have to make changes and we will have to sign players in, and it just basically means we need funds to do that. And I don't believe our side is good enough just yet to be challenging in the Premier League and the Europa League. So, although we are in both competitions, don't be expecting us to go as far as you guys might be thinking. As you can see here, we had a game up against Southampton. We were sat in 12th place coming into this one. The only sides below us were some of the interesting sides as well. Southampton were one of the sides below us who we actually play on the day. They were actually sat 1 place above the relegation zone. So coming into this one, I was sort of feeling confident in the fact that they were below us in the league. However, that means nothing. You know, it's one of those things. Anyone can win on the day. It's like real football. Anything can happen. But like I was saying, don't get your hopes up too much, guys, for this upcoming season. The fact that you're going to be thinking that we're going to be moving on to the better things, at the fact we won the FA Cup last season, that was a very, very, very lucky thing to do. I was not expecting it. And when we came into the Premier League season, I realised how hard this season upcoming was going to be. Last season, we had no pressure in that FA Cup. We had absolutely nothing to go off. It was basically us being able to play whichever way we wanted because the Premier Leagues had the Premier League sides had the pressure. Whereas this time, we are a Premier League side. We're playing Premier League football week in, week out. This time, we have pressure to be able to pick up points every single week. This time, you know, there's stuff to play for. If we got knocked out in that, you know, it just meant we were out of it and it didn't really matter to us because we still had a championship. This time, if we lose a Premier League game, we lose 3 points, effectively. So, this season, upcoming, don't be expecting us to hit the heights that we did last season in terms of winning the FA Cup. We may win a cup this season as well. Who knows? We may actually win an FA Cup because we're out of the English League Cup, obviously, last episode, which, again, is a bit disappointing. But we could still win the FA Cup this year. Nobody knows how the outcome of this year is going to pan out. But at the same time, please don't be expecting me to sort of get into the top, 8 of the league and get into the Europa League knockout phase and stuff just yet. Because at the moment, our side probably isn't good enough to do that. And 48 minutes into the game here, a couple of chances either way to each team. And it was a 62nd minute of this game before anything real happened. As Charlie Austin, very good striker in real life and on FIFA as well. Poor defence from me, like I said. Is it the goalkeeper or is it me? It's a bit of both, really, because Charlie Austin got into the position to be able to have a strike at goal. Yes, the Font maybe could have done better with it, but again, poor defending from me has given Southampton the opportunity to go 1-0 up in this game. So again, it's my fault. I was poor defensively. Had I have not been poor defensively, Southampton would have won this game, and they did win it by a goal to nil. So again, a team that were lower than us in the division have beaten us, which this is what's going to happen in the Premier League. It can happen to any team, any week. It's going to be an interesting season coming up. However, like I've mentioned, unless the board gives me some funds to be able to make signings, this season we will struggle, I think. I think that's how it's going to happen, but I could be pleasantly surprised, and I'm hoping I'll be pleasantly surprised. However, if you want me to sign anybody, leave some comments down within the description, or in the comments rather, below. If anybody you guys want me to sign, leave them now, because obviously I do record these quite... I record a bunch and then edit them for the full week. So basically, leave your comments on these episodes now, and I'll be able to see it in time for January. Anybody that you want me to sign, please leave a comment. Some of you guys are already doing that, and that's very nice to see. The fact that you're engaging in the series and stuff like that. I hope that I can be able to do every single comment that you guys give me. But that's all dependent on funds and stuff. So if you want me to sign any players, leave a comment. Leave your ideas as well as to how I can improve and try and score some goals. I did have a comment in one of the episodes telling me to change formation. I have done that in the upcoming episode. You'll be able to see them coming up pretty soon. Thank you all so much for watching the series so far, and the support you've been showing me is absolutely incredible. Thank you all so much for watching this video as well. Other than that, I've got nothing else to say, and I'll see you all for the next episode of Career Mode very soon. Adios!